was like, I think there was 3,000 of us there, and they cast Godspell from all over the country, right? And I played Jesus. So, the thing was that within the confines of Ball State University, we were like the Who and the Beatles and the Rolling Stones all rolled into one, man. Like, people would like break into our rooms and steal our stuff. Girls would come into the bathroom just to try to see us go into the bathroom. We had to be like ferried back and forth to get meals and stuff, and it was really insane. And I found that it wasn't fun. I found that I was like, I don't really want to be famous. So I was like, I know now. I don't need to go to Hollywood. I really need to be in theater. So I did theater all my life. I did about 100 plays. I used to produce theater in Chicago and Seattle, actually. I guess maybe there's so many favorites, one of my most proud things was that my theater company, New Mercury Theater, was the first theater company to talk Dr. Seuss's widow into releasing the rights again. There's a really horrible cartoon in the 70s, and no one was allowed to touch Dr. Seuss since the 70s, and we convinced her to do it. And we got a big hit out of it, of course. The guy's a genius, and I knew. I was like, it's going to be on Broadway within 2 years. I just know it. Also did original work. There was a really wonderful one-man show. It was a 3.5-hour one-man show called I Might Be Edgar Allan Poe. Weird show. Big hit, though. Big surprising hit for us. And then we also retranslated Calderón de la Barca's Life is a Dream, or La Vida es Sueño. Or rather, we took different translations and what scenes that we liked. And also, my dramaturg had done... This is boring the crap. There was a couple of scenes that have never been translated from Spanish. They've always been dumped, and we decided to translate those ourselves. We got a big hit out of that. But yeah, I am, as soon as my kids are grown, my turn. No, seriously, once my kids are grown, I'm probably going to go straight back to theater.
People that I don't run out of time haven't asked questions. I'm doing a panel tomorrow and Sunday, and James is doing. I don't think we're doing another one together, are we? But James, there are more panels, so please come back and ask your questions. And Threaten the Opera and Henry V. Brilliant. Next question.
Both gentlemen will be at the Walk of Fame, so please go to their tables and frequent them and buy things and get autographs and say hi and thank them for coming.
Hello, both of you. James, I wanted to ask you about your experience with Moonshot and High Plains Invaders. If you could just talk about both of them briefly, that's all.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to know about his experience with Moonshot and High Plains Invaders.
Yeah. Moonshot was one of the funnest but also the scariest shoots I've ever done in my life. The director was just fabulous. He warned us in the very beginning that he was going to put us through hell. That one of the points of this project was to show that that these guys were actually going through a very hard time. This was not a cakewalk to get to the moon, but the thing is that a lot of people think that it was a cakewalk. I thought it was a cakewalk, because I remember all of those transmissions, Houston, my hair is on fire. What do we do? Hi, we're about to die. What do you have to do? Because they're so chill. They're like fighter pilots, right? They're not going to be upset about anything. So we kind of had this sense that it wasn't so hard. And also, for the first time, we were able to build the set exactly the same size as it really was. Because now we have digital technology. We have cameras as big as a chapstick, basically. So, I'm watching Apollo 13, and Tom Hanks has got this big old capsule, and he can move around, and I'm sitting in my little capsule like this, and all these wires and stuff around me like that. But we knew that going in, and every day he'd be like, "Hello, my heroes," as if to say, "Don't you break on me today." But in a nice way, and in the right way, But I discovered that I actually have a phobia. I used to think that I don't have enough fear. I have gotten myself into some really bad scrapes because of, in hindsight, I should have been scared of that, But I found out that I have a fear of smothering, and they had early in the program, I guess they still do, they have 2 helmets, basically. And the first is a sheath of glass that's almost skin tight. And the second is the helmet that we normally see. When there's good airflow, it's really not a problem, but in a lot of shots, we couldn't give us air because we'd see the hose sticking out of our pants or whatever, you know. So a lot of times there wasn't really a lot of oxygen to the experience, and I would have this reoccurring dream where I was submerged 2 inches up below the surface of the water and I couldn't move my feet and couldn't get air. And I'd wake up every morning to that one and time to go to work. But like we didn't want to, but the thing was we didn't, all 3 astronauts were going through the exact same thing. We were freaking out over oxygen deprivation basically. But we didn't want, we knew that if we freaked out, we were going to freak out the other 2. So we were all trying to keep chill. It's not like we were trying to be macho or trying to show off to each other. We're trying to help each other. And I think in some way that might have been true of the team that went to the moon. The High Plains Invader project was interesting. Really good director. Chris was a fabulous director. Working with a Romanian team, you know, usually when I go to England, man, there's no difference between Hollywood and English filmmaking, but the Romanian crew, like the thing that really made me mad was, there was a pretty good camera crew, but they would not be quiet. Like if they weren't being used, they would blow takes on just messing around, just kicking rocks, talking to each other. And sound is the part of filmmaking that's the easiest thing to destroy. You know, just one little buzzing saw when it's not supposed to be there, you have to take it again. And there were just kind of like, you know, guys, we can be better than this. We don't have to take so much time getting this in the can if everyone just pays attention, drinks coffee, and does their job. But the fact that, and frankly, the other cast members were fabulous and really wonderful. But I had a little, you know, little frustration with the camera crew. But other than that, it was really cool. But we're very muddy. What you don't understand is that our feet were like about a half a foot into the mud. And like trying to walk like a cool cowboy